A hooker cut to look like Lana Turner is still a hooker.
Hey!
She just looks like Lana Turner.
She is Lana Turner.
Did you know LA Confidential was almost never made because studios thought detective stories were too old-fashioned? They believed audiences only wanted action heroes, not complex cops in fedoras. But when the movie finally arrived, it stunned everyone. It wasn't just a crime film. It was a glowing, dangerous love letter to Los Angeles itself. Beneath the sunshine, it revealed lies, greed, and broken dreams. Every shadow hid a secret. Every smile had a cost. Let's dive in and discover 20 weird and amazing facts about LA Confidential. Number 20. The studio didn't want two unknown leads. When Curtis Hanson picked Russell Crowe and Guy Pearce, most Americans didn't even know their names. The studio begged him to hire famous actors like Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, or Kevin Costner. Hanson refused. He said he didn't want the audience to recognize the actors before the characters. He wanted faces that felt real. Russell Crowe had only done a few Australian films, and Guy Pearce was still known mostly from a soap opera. Hanson believed that freshness would help the mystery work better. Viewers would focus on who they were, not where they'd seen them before. For months, the studio fought him, but when the movie premiered, people couldn't stop talking about Crowe's quiet intensity and Pearce's moral strength. The same actors the studio had called too unknown became overnight stars. Hollywood learned something. Sometimes you don't need fame. You just need truth. What looked like a risky gamble became one of the smartest casting decisions in modern film history. Number 19. Kim Basinger's character was based on a real woman, Lynn Bracken. The mysterious call girl who looked like Veronica Lake wasn't a random invention. In the real 1950s, there were celebrity look-alike escorts in Los Angeles, women paid to copy famous stars for the rich and powerful. Kim Basinger studied those real women. She watched old footage of Veronica Lake's movies, learned her soft movements, and even practiced how Lake held her cigarette. Her wardrobe designer recreated dresses from Lake's film stills, using the same fabric colors found in vintage catalogs. Kim said the hardest part was not the acting, it was the stillness. Lynn never says much, she once said, but her silence has to speak. During filming, the crew often said she looked like a painting, frozen between elegance and loneliness. That quiet beauty became the soul of the film. What started as imitation became transformation. Number 18. The script took 5 years to write. Turning James Ellroy's 600-page novel into a movie script was like climbing a mountain blindfolded. The book had dozens of characters, overlapping crimes, and hundreds of pages of dense dialogue. Curtis Hanson and writer Brian Helgeland locked themselves away for months, cutting, rewriting, and arguing over what to keep. They built storyboards, shuffled cards with scenes written on them, and used colored string to track timelines on their walls. Sometimes they'd spend an entire day deciding whether to keep just one line of dialogue. Curtis said, "We weren't adapting a book. We were distilling a city." The first draft was nearly 3 hours long, and nobody believed it could work. But Hanson kept trimming, shaping it into something tight and emotional. When they finally finished, it wasn't just a script. It was a love letter to noir, storytelling itself. Every word earned its place. Number 17. The police station was haunted by history. The team didn't build a fake station. They filmed inside a real, abandoned police headquarters from the 1950s. The floors were cracked, the lights flickered, and the air smelled of dust, paper, and old leather. Crew members said they could still feel the ghosts of real officers who once worked there. Sometimes, people heard footsteps or typewriters at night, even when the building was empty. Curtis Hanson decided not to fix everything. He told the crew to let the building breathe. Its imperfections gave the film texture. Russell Crowe later said, "It felt like the walls had seen things we couldn't imagine." The set wasn't just a location, it was a character. The past wasn't gone, it was watching. Number 16. Kevin Spacey's character came from old Hollywood. Jack Vincent's, the celebrity cop who loves fame more than justice, was modeled after real showbiz icons like Dean Martin and Jack Webb. Hansen told Kevin Spacey to study Dean Martin's relaxed charm, the smooth voice, the half smile, the effortless cool. Spacey watched old interviews to mimic the rhythm of speech from that era. Even his suits were handmade by tailors who dressed stars from the 1950s. To understand Vincent's vanity, Spacey spent days hanging out on the Entertainment Tonight set, watching how hosts performed on camera while pretending to be sincere. He learned the fake warmth of fame. By the time filming started, he could turn that charm on and off like a light switch. That's why Vincennes feels both likable and fake. Every gesture was rehearsed, but the emptiness behind it was real. Number 15. The opening montage was a creative rescue. At first, the film started with a long police briefing, but test audiences found it boring. Hansen and editor Peter Honus came up with a solution. A colorful, cheerful montage showing perfect beaches, palm trees, and happy music, while a slick narrator tells us Los Angeles is a paradise. Then, slowly, the truth creeps in. Corruption, murder, scandal. The voice was performed by Danny DeVito, who also plays the gossip journalist Sid Hudgens. His cheerful tone made the darkness hit harder. The montage covered pages of dialogue in just 2 minutes and set the story's rhythm perfectly. It looked simple, but it was storytelling genius. Sunshine, hiding shadows. Number 14. Rollo Tomasi came from real life. The name Rollo Tomasi sounds strange and mysterious, but it wasn't from the book. Curtis Hanson invented it. He said it came from a real experience when he was young. A man once stole his bike, and the thief was never caught. That sense of injustice stayed with him for years. So when he needed a name for a criminal who gets away, he created Rollo Tomasi. To Hanson, Rollo wasn't just a name. It was an idea. He symbolized every person who escapes punishment, every secret that stays buried. When Exley says it at the end, it feels powerful because it comes from something real. A boy's memory of unfairness. Number 13. The blood was safe but painfully realistic. The shootout scenes in LA. Confidential looked brutal, but the blood wasn't CGI. It was practical. The crew used sugar syrup mixed with red and brown coloring to get that dark, sticky look. They placed small squibs, tiny explosives, under the actors' clothes. When a gun fired, the squib popped, sending fake blood everywhere. It had to be timed perfectly, with sound effects and camera motion. The only problem? The syrup made clothes stiff and sticky. By the end of a long shoot, Russell Crowe's costume was almost solid with dried sugar. The smell was so bad that the wardrobe team had to wash everything twice a day. It looked like violence, but it was sweet chaos. Number 12. Russell Crowe became Bud White in real life. Russell Crowe didn't just play a tough cop. He lived like one. Before filming began, he spent weeks riding along with real Los Angeles police officers at night. He learned how they stood, talked, and entered rooms. He practiced his punches on heavy bags until his knuckles bruised. He even changed his diet to bulk up his shoulders. During filming, he stayed in character off camera. Crew members said he would stand silently in corners, scanning the set like he was still on patrol. When someone asked if he could smile for a photo, he just said, "Bud doesn't smile." That commitment made Bud White feel like a real man from another time. Number 11. The set design was a time machine. Hansen wanted the audience to feel like they had stepped into 1950s Los Angeles. The production designers used old photographs, postcards, and police maps to rebuild the city, street by street. They found neon signs from closed diners, cleaned them, and wired them to glow again. Every wall color matched period palettes: mint green, mustard yellow, powder blue. They even filled offices with working rotary phones and cigarette burns on the desks. Hansen said, "I didn't want nostalgia. I wanted truth." By the time filming ended, even extras said they felt like they had lived in that decade. Number 10. Guy Pearce was told not to smile. Ed Exley, the clean-cut detective who believes in the rules, wasn't written to be charming. Guy Pearce, worried that audiences would find him stiff or cold. Curtis Hanson told him not to change it. "You're supposed to make people uncomfortable," he said. Pearce spent weeks studying police training films from the era, learning how officers stood straight and controlled every gesture. He also practiced tightening his jaw whenever Exley faced moral conflict. That small habit made his character seem both strict and vulnerable. In the final scene, when he finally softens, the difference is powerful because we've watched his control break. It wasn't about being liked, it was about being real. Number 9, the interrogation scene. Nearly broke the cast. The infamous Bloody Christmas sequence, where officers brutally beat suspects, was one of the hardest scenes to film. It was shot in a real cell block with no air conditioning, under hot lights, for 3 days straight. The shouting, sweating, and chaos made it feel too real. Some actors later said they felt shaken after finishing. Curtis Hanson filmed much of it in long takes, without telling the actors when he'd cut. That kept the energy wild. When it was finally over, the room went silent. No one celebrated. They just walked outside to breathe. That silence ended up giving the scene its chilling power. Number 8, real vintage clothes gave the film its look. Instead of sewing new costumes, the team found real 1950s clothing from old studio warehouses. Some suits had been worn by classic movie stars decades earlier. Because the fabric was thick and stiff, it forced the actors to move differently, standing tall, walking slower, adjusting their cuffs. Kim Basinger's gowns came from private collectors and were treated like museum pieces. Between takes, assistants carried them on padded hangers so they wouldn't tear. The clothes didn't just decorate the movie, they shaped how the characters lived inside it. No fake glamour, just history reborn. Number 7, the author called it a miracle. James Ellroy, the novelist behind LA Confidential, had every reason to doubt Hollywood. 2 earlier movies based on his books had disappointed him, but after seeing the premiere, he stood and applauded. He said, "They got the soul right." He later called the film a miracle of condensation, meaning it captured his giant novel's essence in just a few hours. Ellroy even joked that he should pay Hanson instead of being paid. Coming from a famously harsh critic, that was the highest praise possible. The man who wrote the words believed the movie made them shine brighter. Number 6, real Hollywood locations. Tell the story. Instead of building fake sets, Hanson filmed in real Los Angeles landmarks. The Formosa Cafe, City Hall, and the Frolic Room, all places where real movie stars once drank and gossiped. Shooting in those living landmarks added layers of authenticity. When actors entered the Formosa Cafe, they were walking into a room that Clark Gable had actually visited. The scent of old wood, whiskey, and cigarette smoke wasn't added. It was real. Hanson believed those textures carried the ghosts of old Hollywood. He said, "We didn't need to invent magic. It was already there." Number 5, Danny DeVito almost got his own show. Sid Hudgens, the scandal-loving magazine writer, was so beloved that producers planned a spin-off TV series about him. It would follow Hudgens exposing new Hollywood scandals every week. DeVito loved the idea, but the studio worried it might spoil the mystery of the movie. The show never happened. Still, DeVito's mix of humor and sleaze became one of the film's highlights. His narration at the start pulls you in, and his end leaves you shaken. Number 4, Kim Basinger. Nearly said no. After years away from acting, Kim Basinger hesitated to take on Lynn Bracken. She feared being typecast or compared unfairly to Veronica Lake. But when she read the script, she cried. "I saw beauty in her sadness," she said. Curtis Hanson promised to protect her character's dignity and let her performance show strength, not just sexuality. On set, Basinger avoided looking in mirrors, wanting Lynn to appear unaware of her own beauty. When she finally watched the movie, she wept again, this time in joy. The role earned her an Academy Award. What started with doubt ended with triumph. Number 3, the final shootout was real chaos. The motel showdown looks wild for a reason. It was filmed over nearly a month in a real condemned building. Each wall was rigged to explode or collapse in a specific order. Actors had to hit precise marks so they wouldn't get hurt. One mistimed move could have been dangerous. Russell Crowe insisted on doing his own stunts, diving behind doors as real debris flew. By the end, the set was destroyed. The crew said it looked like a war zone. The exhaustion on the actors' faces? That wasn't acting. It was survival. Number 2. The ending was rewritten to give hope. In the original script, the story ended with Exley alone and bitter, driving away in silence. Test audiences felt crushed. So Hansen wrote a softer ending, Exley receiving a medal and leaving town with Lynn Bracken. That small moment of light turned despair into redemption. Guy Pearce said it was the perfect balance. After so much darkness, the audience needed one breath of sunlight. The change also gave closure to their emotional journey. It's proof that sometimes one new scene can rewrite the entire meaning of a film. Number 1. It brought film noir back to life before LA. Confidential, Hollywood had nearly forgotten noir, those moody crime dramas of the 40s and 50s. But this movie brought the style roaring back. It reminded filmmakers that audiences still loved shadows, jazz, cigarettes, and moral confusion. After its success, new noir-inspired films followed. Memento, Road to Perdition, The Black Dahlia. It wasn't just nostalgia. It was rebirth. The film showed that style and story could dance again in the dark. What looked like an old genre became fresh, sharp, and alive. Bonus fact: hidden cameras captured real reactions. In some street scenes, Curtis Hanson secretly filmed in downtown Los Angeles without closing streets. Real people walked by, not realizing they were part of a movie. Their puzzled looks added authenticity. In one shot, a woman staring at Kevin Spacey was an actual passerby. Hanson said those unscripted moments made the city feel alive, like Los Angeles itself was another actor in the story. That's why LA Confidential feels real even today. Fiction and reality blend until you can't tell which is which. Old tools, new magic. Outro LA. Confidential isn't just a mystery. It's a story about truth hiding behind beauty. It showed how fame and power twist everything, and how courage sometimes comes from quiet people. It revived film noir, rebuilt an era, and reminded the world that the past never truly dies. Every shadow whispers. Every secret matters. If you enjoyed these stories, subscribe for more. Every movie hides a truth, and we'll keep uncovering them, one story at a time.